Push the button. Push the button.
No, don't see. Don't. I'm trying to block my freaking with my hand as if I'm blocking you guys. That does not work.
Welcome back, everybody, for part 2. We have just uploaded part 1, so make sure you check that out. Share with us your thoughts and enjoy.
Moving on to the next one, we have Ezekiel Elliott, Dance Boy. We have anyone?
Mike
Gesicki?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Chase Claypool.
My boy,
So Elliot, Gesicki, and Chase Claypool.
Okay.
George Kittle, Omar's boy.
Omar's boy, yeah.
Hey.
Chase Edmonds. And Terry McLaurin.
Oh God.
Terry.
So this to me is very, very even. I mean, and it really depends on Elliot. Elliot's not the number 1 round pick anymore, and it's like, will he be back? George Kittle is the number 1 tight end or 2. I mean, he'll be my number 2 behind Travis Kelce. And the whole Chase Edmonds situation, they did bring in James Conner, so how much are they going to use him?
Yeah.
Terry is a beast, in my opinion. So I'll just start it off on my end. I think I'm taking D.
I was going to be extremely biased by just looking at Ezekiel Elliott because I love Ohio State, and then Terry McLaurin's there, so they're both Ohio State, so it's like a win-win. I think Terry has locked down the job in Washington, whereas Chase Claypool, like we said previously, is in amongst Juju and Najee Harris and a bunch of other guys competing for that spot. Ezekiel Elliott is clearly better than Chase Edmonds, plus he has no one to compete with. Chase Edmonds does have people to compete with, and George Kittle is clearly the better player against Mike. Purely on that basis, I'm going with D, just because 2 of the players beat out the other 2 players, and then it's kind of like 2v1 there. So it's pretty easy for me. D is the one.
Yeah, I'm not going to be very controversial. I completely agree. I think I'm not very high on Zeke as well. I'm a little bit concerned by him. So yeah, Claypool again, like you said, difficult for him to bring himself out of that melee. And Ben is old and fat, so don't think he's gonna be great. And Gesicki is being targeted this year by Tua, who we don't really know how he's going to be. I'm trying to get rid of Tua. Gabo, please accept
I
the
would
trade.
too.
Chase Edmonds, I agree. Yeah. I mean, he's not the best of running backs, but I go D.
Yeah, I agree as well. So actually, I mean, there isn't anything more to hide, but I have a quick question for you guys. Who do you think will finish with a better fantasy year, Ezekiel Elliott or Najee Harris?
Najee Harris.
I'd lean Najee, yeah.
Damn,
it's really difficult to say.
But it's weird though, because you're telling me that, you're asking me that, but then if I'm on the clock and I have Elliot and Najee as my 2 options, I'm like,
I think Elliot, because, and that's not me being biased because I like Najee. I took him in my drafts. I live in Pittsburgh, so I want Najee to do well. But I think Elliot is a better pass catching back, and also Dallas just don't. I feel as though him and Dak do well together.
I think
he struggled last year because he didn't have Dak. He had freaking Andy Dalton. It's very different.
I see CeeDee having a big year this year, and I don't know if that will take some of the targets away from Zeke.
But then at the same time, but then you can argue, Seb, at the same time, if people weren't giving CeeDee the same respect he should, and were giving him that open coverage because they wanted to drop, to go in and not drop back, they wanted to close the pass catching lane for the running back because they knew Zeke was so good. If this year, if we are going to assume that he's going to gather more attention from the corners, then that makes Zeke open, right? The strong safety is going to be stuck on.
Yeah. Also, Elliott's also been injured for the last year. He's been fighting through injuries. This is going to be his first season coming into the season injury free.
But then that's another thing I'm slightly worried about. He has been injured a lot. Is he going to be at the same level that he was?
Just to share a laugh with you guys. So I stopped listening to you guys when I think it was Seb that said CeeDee or Omar said CeeDee. I thought we were, for some reason, I'm trying to figure out who the hell name is C and last name D. And I'm like, what's happening? And I'm like thinking, I'm like, okay, should I ask? Am I a noob? And then Omar said it to him, like, okay, what's going on? Chase Deadmans, like, did I put the last name wrong? And I was like, okay, CD Lamb. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Lamb.
So
Lamb.
I feel like the
That's
top
my
three.
Lamb
I mean,
impression.
I'm pretty high. I mean, I'm not pretty high, but like I'm higher than everyone on Tua. I do think Tua is gonna have a good game.
Except my
Good
trade.
year, sorry. You're asking for too much.
Except my trade.
Get out of here. Anyways, I feel like even with that in mind, I feel like the top three are players that I'm not confident in picking. Like I'd be like, if I'm picking them, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of picking him because the ADP is like there and like I have to. But the other three, besides maybe Chase Edmonds, I'm completely happy with drafting them. George Kittle, obviously, he's never going to get underdrafted. There's always going to be someone picking him early. So based on the value, I'm happy picking him there. Terry McLaurin, a lot of people still haven't jumped on the hype train. People that don't follow the NFL enough, like they don't really understand Washington enough.
Yeah.
So he's a nice pick.
Mhm.
But Chase and Claypool and Gesicki, again, they're ones that are like a little. I know Chase Claypool, he's poised for success, but I'm just not. Again, I'm not thrilled with Big Ben running that offense. So if I'm gonna stay away from the Steelers, I'm just gonna pick Najee Harris and Elliot. I do want him to have a big year. I love watching him play. I know you're a fanboy, but I'm a fanboy just because of his.
The eating.
And he's just a
Zeke.
beast.
He
and I
does. He
hope
does
has
have
a-
good celebrations. I liked when he jumped
does.
inside that
that bin.
whatever. No, it was a
Martin
Salvation
Salvation
Army
Army,
thing. Yeah, that was quite good. Yeah.
All right.
And I
Well,
got fined for it.
That's another four-way D. So let's let's try and add some controversy. Let's see here. We have here George Kittle again.
Okay.
I love that photo, by the way.
I was actually just gonna say the same thing. That is a sick photo. Yeah.
Sick photo.
My man's veins. Those
My man
veins.
Ryan Tannehill, who I followed when he was in the Dolphins, and I think he's a story of Matthew Stafford. This year he's today's before it's Matthew Stafford trapped in a excuse me trapped in a terrible game
Organization.
moved on and got into a new place where he can succeed. Same thing with Matthew Stafford.
Do you want to hear a crazy stat? Do you want to hear a crazy stat? And I think it's accurate, but feel free to correct me. Ryan Tannehill has had a better QB passer rating than Patrick Mahomes while being in the Titans. Fact.
Yeah. No, he's had an insane amount of.
It's mad. Mad
receptions. That's the thing. It's attempts with receptions is just skyrocketing his.
And he's got Julio now.
This is the guy that. The whole logic that Dan was mentioning about like how QBs don't win you leagues because you can draft pretty much anyone. This is the guy that you want to target in the 10th rounds, 11th rounds. No one's going to pick him because by the time he is the next quarterback to be picked, everyone already has Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes, all these guys. And this guy's going to be slowly there. People are going to pick Tom Brady over him no matter what. So he's going to be there.
You should still take Kirk over Tannehill.
Stop talking. Kirk Cousins.
Oh.
Stop talking.
Okay, so Ryan Tannehill with his boy AJ Brown and George Kittle. That seems like an ideal.
That's a nice trio there. So I'm very intrigued to see who's on D this time.
Russell Wilson with his duo, DK Metcalf. So now you're thinking duos here.
Okay.
And Mark Andrews.
Oh.
So.
No, this is tougher.
You got tight end 2 and tight end. What the hell just happened to my screen? All right, tight end 2 with tight end 4 or 3. I still think Darren Waller is above him. And then you have the duplas, the double teams on each team. What do you do here, Seb?
So I'm a massive AJ Brown fan because he basically won me a league last year. And although I'm slightly concerned, I mean, we did a video about Julio going to the Titans and how is that going to affect AJ Brown? On the one hand, is he going to take targets away? On the other, is he going to garner attention from defensive backs that could leave him more open? I think Russ versus Tannehill. Russ, you have more of that scramble and picking up points from that side of things. This is tough. This is really tough. I'm leaning I, but I could definitely be swayed by one of these two guys.
This one's pretty easy for me, I think. I think the I is better. And you all have to hear me out for this one because I think in this one you have to take into consideration who they're playing. The Titans are in the AFC South. They get to play the Texans twice, the Jaguars twice, and the Colts now with no quarterback twice. Okay, so AJ Brown is going to absolutely steamroll. It's the same with Ryan Tannehill. It's going to steamroll the Texans like they do every year, steamroll the Jags, and steamroll the Colts. I don't know if the Colts will be as easy as steamroll, but I still think the Titans win pretty much 6 games in the AFC South. I don't think they lose any. George Kittle and was it Mark Andrews? Is that right?
Yeah.
That what you said? Yeah. I think they're pretty much a win-win. I don't really see that much disparity between the two. So based on that alone, I think the Titans have a way easier schedule than the Seattle Seahawks, who are in a very tough spot in their division, I think. And based off of that, and based off of how great AJ Brown is, it's a clear win for that high.
Yeah, so I didn't go into as intricate of a thought process as Dan did in terms of thinking about their schedules and whatnot. I think he just wanted to vent about the Texans more than anything. So to me, it's just, okay, you have Ryan Tannehill, who was already doing fantastic and was just given another weapon, right? And this weapon is Julio. AJ Brown was doing the numbers he was doing with a lot of coverage on him. Like, who was the like Corey Davis was the WR2 last year, but even then Corey was in and out of injuries all year. So it was always like Najee Sharp, I think, if my memory hasn't mistaken me, as a WR2 next to AJ, and he still dominated and he still did amazing. So if you're bringing Julio, you're improving Ryan Tannehill's weapons and you're taking less coverage away from AJ Brown at the same time. So to me, like, you're bolstering both their chances to get you points. And I mean, I'm a 49ers fan, so, and like, you know, Kittle is a demagogue to me. So you know, like, and honestly, this is Lamar's boom or bust year. And if he does boom, I don't think he'll be through his tight end option. I think he'll probably be the inclusion of Sammy Watkins into the mix and having that positional experience that will help him find the receptions. I think Seahawks are going to have a very bad year this year. You heard it here first. I think they're probably going to be the bottom of that division. So to me, I wins hands down, just because Julio opens up so many things for both AJ and Tannehill.
When you said Lamar just now, did you mean Russell Wilson? I was really confused.
No, I said Lamar. No, I'm saying Lamar. This is Lamar's boom or bust year, Lamar Jackson's. And if he is going to have a good year, if he is going to be,
right.
it's not going to be, I personally feel, I personally feel it's not going to
be.
be, because he had Mark Andrews last year and he was still inconsistent. So if he is going to suddenly be amazing and all that, either something is going to click differently, or they've added in Sammy Watkins, and Sammy Watkins is going to be the game changer. So
never trust your team with Sammy Watkins. That's my advice.
Yeah,
like 4 years now.
So I think to me it's a clear I win.
I think I is the most safe by far. I think Tannehill is gonna get you those like 15 to 20 points no matter what. AJ Brown will. I agree with you, Omar. He's gonna do much better numbers with Julio there. And honestly, it's hard for me because my second favorite wide receiver is DK Metcalf. And I tried to trade him in all my leagues last year, and I did in a few. And I changed all my names to like mentioning him. But Mark Andrews lost me like 2 leagues. He was doing so well at the beginning of the year, and then just like disappeared.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was kind of having that bias to pick D, but after what Dan said about the schedules and me realizing that, you know, Carson Wentz is out now, they are gonna have 6 easy games for sure, guaranteed. No matter how good the Colts defense is, the Colts offense is not gonna be in the field for long enough for the defense to like not get tired.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about Derrick Henry. Like he's also the running back.
Yeah.
Exactly. So George Kittle over Andrews any day. I would take DK over AJ any day, 1-for-1. But between Russell and Tannehill, I'm like, you know what? The upside of Tannehill is there. Russell, like you said, he could not have a good year. I mean, he's gonna have a good year no matter what. He is Russell, but you said it yourself. You saying that they're gonna be the bottom of the division. You would think it's like a big like claim, but if you realize the teams that they're up against, like okay, it's anyone
exactly
at the bottom. Like it's Niners, Cardinals, and Rams there. So. All right. So it's, I guess, another 4-way I this time. Everyone say I.
I.
Kenneth, all right, let's go for the next one. We have Jonathan Taylor, one of the running backs that has been climbing up the rankings. I might disagree a little bit with it, but Michael Gallup, Daryl Henderson, or Darnell Henderson for those that have been keeping up, and Cooper Kupp.
Oh, 4-way.
4.
Oh my lord.
4.
I'm already taking D. I don't need to.
Really? Okay, I thought it was actually closer, but I guess not really.
Oh, there's only 2 players.
No, to me D.
I mean, I'm gonna be biased here. Let's be honest. As soon as that final face came up, I mean, anything involving Dalvin is going to be very difficult for me to say no. I mean, obviously with D you lose your depth, but
yeah,
the D players like Mike Williams is better than that is Mike Williams, isn't it? I'm not going insane.
No, that's Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. Sorry, I apologize. Keenan Allen is superior to Cooper Kupp and Michael Gallup. Dalvin Cook is far superior to the 2 running backs. So, I mean, if you're looking for win now mode, which we're talking about actually redraft, aren't we? So,
yeah,
it is win now.
It is win now.
I mean, to me, Gallup is I don't think he's gonna be a factor this year. Unfortunately, I think he is very talented, but I just don't think he will get the reps to validate him being a threat. So you're just getting someone that will give you maximum 7 points a game, especially if it's half PPR. He's not a red zone threat either. So like I would say his cap is probably 5 or 7 points. You have Darrell Henderson, who is supposed to be the RB1 for the Rams now, but they have Matthew Stafford. So like to me, you're pretty much like those 2 are negligible. So you're pretty much doing Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor versus Keenan Allen and Dalvin Cook. And using Dan's logic, it's like who are the best players in this trade is to me is definitely 100% Dalvin Cook in terms of fantasy value. And honestly, even Keenan Allen, like I think with Justin Herbert in the mix and now they have a proper like passing game again. And the fact that they have Austin Eckler like back healthy, so that should open things up as well. To me, D is a clear winner. I mean, I didn't need to see the rest. I said D without seeing even Dalvin Cook, but I think there's a lot of mediocre players, and I'm glad that D had that extra value that you'd be able to receive.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah, Keenan Allen was the ranked number 12th wide receiver last year and missed 2 games. So Keenan Allen is very underrated. Someone gave me a trade last year for Keenan Allen. It was for, I think it was Cortland Sutton for Keenan Allen. And once I looked at Keenan Allen, I was like,
really?
Now mode, I'm taking Keenan Allen. He was also a 2nd round pick involved, but it's a 2nd round pick is whatever.
Kirtland didn't play, so
yeah. And, Dalvin Cook is better than all these guys. Keenan Allen is better than all of them. Jonathan Taylor, not sure how he's going to fare with no Carson Wentz. I don't know who's going to be handing the ball off to him. I don't know how much they're going to be running it. I don't understand the Colts offense. I'm not really entirely sure what's going to go on there. Omar pretty much hit the nail on the head with Michael Gallup. Daryl Henderson is an interesting one. He might be great. Also, the Rams may bring in another running back. There's quite a few running backs on the free agent market. And Cooper Kupp is kind of hit or miss. I have him in a couple leagues, and it's kind of like a couple times I just bench him because I have no idea how he's either going to hit 15 points, he's going to hit 2 points. I'm not really sure. It's just one of those things. Although the Rams do have Matthew Stafford now, so it might be a little bit different. But again, he's not as good as Keenan Allen. He's not as good as Dalvin Cook. It's very easy D win. Maybe if this was Dynasty, you would take a look at I just because Jonathan Taylor could be a superstar. Darrell Henderson could be. Michael Gallup could be. it's very much a could be thing because Keenan Allen's getting on. He's like 31, I think. So he's going to
He's a bit
be
old.
basically redundant in a year or two, maybe. And it'll just be Dalvin Cook. So I would look at very closely, perhaps if there was a pick thrown in there for a dynasty. But because this is redraft, it's a very, very easy D.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, yeah. I'm going to try and play devil's advocate here. So Gallup is kind of non-existent, I guess. We can all agree. I mean, we have Amari Cooper and CeeDee, and
Yeah.
I mean, unless something happens to CeeDee, you know, I don't think anything you can't really get out of. You're not trading for Gallup and starting him. You're trading him to keep him in the bench.
Also, you're praying that Dak stays healthy.
Yeah.
No Dak equals no wide receiver.
The thing to me, it's like, okay, Jonathan Taylor has been going up in the rankings as like the 5th overall pick.
That's crazy to me.
Really?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. That's the
Wow. Yeah, I
bigger
don't know about that.
inflation. That's the biggest overhype I've ever seen.
He had an amazing end of the season. He was having 20+ point games in the last like 4 or 5 of the season. So if they keep up with that workload, and Daryl Henderson gets that workload, who so far the Rams are saying that that's what they're going to go with, that Daryl Henderson is their guy and they're going to do a workload on him. Assuming they don't bring in someone else, these are 2 workload running backs for 2 very, well, I mean, I guess the Rams are going to be a very high scoring game anyway. Colts, I guess with Carson Wentz, going to be a little tough, but then again, it could also be that they're just going to run it a lot more. So if you're looking at 20 rush attempts for each of these guys, Darrell Henderson and Jonathan Taylor on the left side, and then you add Cooper Kupp with a Matthew Stafford, I wouldn't say it's that. I'd say the trade is closer. Keenan Allen, I agree. He's been super underrated. I love the guy in last year who's silently scoring 20 points per game. And Dalvin Cook is just Dalvin Cook. I feel like this is kind of like a big names versus look at the numbers kind of like situation. And I'm just going to say I might still stick with D, but I will say like, look at what you have. Look at what you have on your benches, but look at the numbers as well and projecting. If you're gonna get 40 total rush attempts per game by Darrell Henderson, Jesus, and Taylor, that's 20 more than what Dalvin's gonna get. So,
I'll counterpoint you though. So at the end of the day, you need to have the O-line and you need to have the talent. And for example, Todd Gurley in Atlanta last year, Todd Gurley, big name. You would imagine he's still decent. I would imagine the bare minimum he's as good as Darrell Henderson. Did nothing last year. Barely did anything. He was not fantasy relevant whatsoever. And fun fact, he's still a free agent. So clearly, not only is he fantasy irrelevant, he is also NFL irrelevant. Unfortunately, because he was an MVP caliber player a few years ago. So
he fell off a cliff massively, didn't he?
I mean, he just got multiple injuries back to back, and I think it really derailed his performance. But I think the biggest X factor here is Darrell Henderson, because to me, Michael Gallup is a non-factor. So you're looking at Jonathan Taylor, Darrell Henderson, Cooper Kupp versus Keenan Allen and Dalvin Cook. Like if I just say that to you off the cup, well, no pun intended. Who would you take? Who would you take? You take Keenan Allen, Dalvin Cook. So that's why to me I think it's a bit more straightforward in there.
Numbers. Okay, so I was looking at just projection. I know projections are really tough to kind of base out of. This is if I believe it was Fantasy World. I can't remember what it was, but projected for Dalvin Cook, 316 attempts for the year, 316 yards, 1,500, so 1,400. Okay. Decent as hell.
I think that's
Now I'm combining Taylor and Henderson together. I'm gonna put them as a together because that's essentially what we're doing. Rushing attempts 510, so that's 200 more than Dalvin Cook, and 2,300 yards. The numbers obviously would say 2 is better than 1, no matter what. But
when 2 becomes 1.
I don't know. I'm trying to find ways to not pick Dalvin Cook just to piss
I see what you're saying, but again,
Dalvin Cook is a consensus number 2 pick in every draft, whether it's Yahoo,
should be one. Should be one.
I'll pick him 1.
Well, you could pick him 1 easily, but
you could easily. Yeah, if you took him 1, no one would.
There's really no argument. I believe that you can make that not to pick Dalvin Cook in this instance. Maybe his injury history, but I mean, every football player gets injured at
Yeah.
some point. It's
Yeah.
football. So yeah.
All right, so I guess
Sorry, one more thing. If you were doing a redraft and you were drafting these players in their actual draft position, you're pretty much giving like a few late round picks for the number 1 pick and like someone in the 4th, 5th round that you've drafted. Think about it like that.
Yeah.
You're not gonna take Darrell Henderson or Michael Gallup. Maybe Jonathan Taylor, maybe Cooper Kupp at the earlier rounds. But imagine someone just sending you that draft pick trade as these guys as draft picks. You would not take it.
What's Daryl Henderson's ADP?
Maybe
gone up since he-
Darrell
yeah,
probably
Henderson's
gone up.
ADP is 53.7.
53. I mean, if you're in a
Jonathan
12,
Jonathan
That's
Taylor's
overall.
Jonathan
So that's
Taylor's is
5th round.
7.6. So he's a
which
first
I think
round
is
player.
I think that's an overestimation.
Who
personally. I
who
mean,
would
people-
who would you be taking? Jonathan Taylor or Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones probably.
Easy.
Aaron Jones averages 11.8. Jonathan Taylor
That's
7.6.
bad.
Aaron,
If I'm
okay,
in that
well,
position and no wide receivers have been picked, I'm picking Davante right there.
Well, that too.
Oh yeah,
Like-
I'm talking like
but,
straight
but
running
also
back.
Jonathan Taylor has no quarterback thrown to him, whereas Aaron Jones has average.
And
touches.
Marlon Mack. And Marlon, guys, if the
Yeah.
Colts
Mac is still
felt,
alive.
so okay, just think about this.
Return
The
of
fact,
Mac.
well,
I was gonna
we have
throw
a
in songs
jukebox.
just here and
Yeah.
there. Then, yeah.
I was about to say, like, guy, like Mac, even with a bad injury, the Colts still felt the need to bring him because they weren't that sold on Jonathan Taylor. Think about it. They extended Mac's contract because there must be a reason why they extended his contract, right? They
Yeah,
didn't just
sure.
let him go.
I mean, I don't think Mac is trash anyway, but you do wonder if that gives some
just
insider information into what they think about Jonathan Taylor. Yeah.
But it's close. It is.
I guess we're all assuming on the sticking on the D, 4-way D again for all the boys, and I believe that is the last of it. Not gonna lie, I thought we were gonna take a lot less. I'm glad you guys had stuff to say.
We just always end up talking for a long
That's
ass
good.
time.
Yeah.
That's good.
And also,
so
this just convinced me to that I should be trading more with you, Gabo, because some of your projections are whack.
Yeah.
do it. Send me
Yeah.
trades. Let's do it. And
I will.
speaking of, we're gonna probably do another mock draft soon. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Well, I hope you 3 enjoyed it.
I did.
I did. So that's a
Thank
good
you,
idea.
Quizmaster.
Thank
And
you.
more importantly, I
Master.
hope you viewers liked it. Screw these guys. I just care about you guys. But yeah, if you guys like what we did and if you have any ideas, if you want to talk about some of the trades, some of the claims that we have said, I know my Joe Mixon claim was a little whack, as Omar would say. But we'll see you guys another day, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like hearing us ramble about sports, feel free to subscribe at the top right, check out the next videos on the left, and feel free to leave us a like at the bottom. Thank you guys for watching.